This video is to go over Review Packet 5B, Lesson 5.8. When the diver goes down underwater, the weight of the water exerts pressures on the diver. The table shows how the water pressure on the diver increases as the diver's depth increases. So the deeper you go, the higher the pressure is. Part A says what's the water pressure on the diver at the depth of 6 feet, 60 feet, and at the depth of 100 feet. So you just can simply extend this graph to get 60. Look for a pattern between two consecutive, or you can find a pattern here between these two things, or you can find a pattern between input and output, and that's what actually Part B is asking you to do. What's the pattern, the relationship or pattern between input, which is this is the input, and this is the output, right? So domain and range. So what's the pattern between these two? And if you find a pattern, write it as an equation, and then C says use your equation in Part B to determine the depth of the diver, assuming the water pressure on the diver is 46.2 pounds per square inch. Explain. So if he gets 46.2 if he gets 46.2 pounds every square inches of his body, that's the water pressure, then what would be how deep he is? You can find that out using the equation from here. Next problem, copy and complete each tables. So these are the difference tables. So you get 13 over here. That means in order to get 13, you gotta add this input, whatever the output, you add 6 and you get 13. So this has to be 7, and this will be what? You add 13 plus 16, 6, so that's 19, and you can find that here and here and here. And likewise, you do the same thing. What's the difference between these two? And 1 and 3. So this should be 2, right? And this should be 6, and so on and so forth. Fraction is easy if you know how to change -2 into negative some number over 5. Change this into the fraction over 5 so that it's more helpful to you to see what's going on, right? Well, this is really easy. 2 over 5 plus 4 over 5 is just simply 6 over 5, because 2 plus 4 is 6. And when you add, you don't add the denominators, you just add the upstairs, right? And the right function for each table. So that's the second part of it. So that means what's the relationship? Find the pattern between input and output, and then write out the rule. And if you can, write it out as an equation. That's more professional, or write it in the words. Number 12, without graphing, decide whether each table matches a linear function. For each table, graph the data and write the linear equation if possible. So if it is, the first task you have to do is to see if this table is a linear function. Linear function is that the difference is constant, so that means it goes up or down by addition, or it goes up or down constantly. So this goes down by 3. Every output goes down by 3, so that means this is the input. So you gotta graph this and write the linear function. What's the pattern between those two, right? So write the function. How about this? Is the difference constant, or it goes up or down constantly? If not, that's not a linear function, so you don't have to graph it. And that's lesson 5.8.